Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to come to you today for the first podcast for Fatherless Yet Fabulous. FYF is a life coaching and mentoring company. We are starting with girls ages 6 to 12. So we will be doing mentorship, which will be in person and digitally. We look forward to children events as well as events for single mothers. We're here to empower, enrich, and enlighten. This journey is difficult, but you can do it. And you can pass to your children positive energy on a daily basis. We're here to help you do that. Today, we are talking about strongholds and fatherlessness. And we're going to start out with promiscuity. We know it's a taboo subject, but when we're talking about things that affect our children and that compromise the next generation, we gotta be real. So I am pleased to introduce my first guest ever, the magnificent social worker of the century, my mother, Irene Scott Bethia. She's currently a school social worker with the Newburgh and Large City School District, which is a district that is at risk, impoverished, and needs our help. She is an excellent resource, and I'm happy to have her here today.
Thank you, Tiara.
You are welcome. So let's get started. All right. So, Miss Scott Bethia, like I said, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Promiscuity. I think we all know by definition what that is. And the impacts of promiscuity on anyone's life is both emotional, psychological, and physical. You know, physical, you think about STDs, you think about premature pregnancies, and we just want to explore some of the concurrent issues with promiscuity and fatherlessness, and how we can be there for youth that are on the path of promiscuity or have gone down that path and are suffering from the emotional ramifications. So please tell us a little bit about the school setting, kind of what you see.
Well, in the school setting, I work basically from K through 8, but a lot of the middle school girls now are dealing with fatherlessness because majority of them, their fathers are in prison. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that might have a direct impact on how they feel as a young lady, but it does.
Yeah.
And according to the New York Times, it was an article published that said that girls who were fatherless and their dads disappeared before they were the age of 6 are 5 times more likely to be pregnant. And I can attest to that fact because I work with a lot of girls, unfortunately, again, who become pregnant at a very early age. Now, fatherlessness can manifest itself in different ways, and by that I mean that they could become fatherless because their fathers could have died, their fathers could have walked out, their fathers could be in prison, or their fathers can be in the household with them. That's what a lot of people don't understand, but they're not active fathers. So a lot of times those children, particularly girls, in my situation anyway, they still feel that they don't have a father. And some of the young men that feel that way, they become very protective of their mother. And I'm thinking of a young man in particular. He cries because he feels like his father is there, but he's not there. So he feels like he has to step up and be the man of the house. He wants to work. He's always worried about his mother being tired. He's worried about making sure his siblings have something to eat. So a lot of the young women also, they have to play the second mother role because they feel like the father is not there to help the mother. So what they do is, in turn, they seek out love, but all love in the wrong places.
Right.
So they seem to feel like if they just had a male that would pay them, you know, a great deal of attention, that would fulfill the role of a father. And a lot of times they actually get involved with older men.
Yeah.
On the social media is like, it's good and it's bad, because I had a student in particular that recently she sent a 31-year-old male her picture, nude pictures, and she's only 14, but she lied to him and told him she was 18. So in her case, her father, she never knew her father, so she's trying to find that fulfillment not only in her father, but in her mother. So she has a double whammy. So the other thing she does is cut herself. That's a big thing today. So we find, unfortunately, that a lot of these girls, they can't establish a long-lasting relationship even after they become adult women. And it's very, very sad because they seem to team up with these young men that know that they've had this loss. And no matter how much they meet with me and I tell them that they're going down a road that's not going to help them in achieving anything much in life and not even have a good education if they don't separate. But unfortunately, they can't see that. So not only do young girls that don't have a father get involved with young men, I find a lot now they get into lesbian relationships. So one day they think they're lesbian, the next day they think they're bisexual, the next day they got a boyfriend, and they come crying to me. But of course I'm gonna be there for them because a lot of times they don't have anybody.
Right.
So it's a very difficult
cycle.
Very difficult.
And I wanted to take a moment to talk about what you said, how young these girls are. And FYF is particularly special to me because my family split up, and again, this is my mom, so we have a relationship that has been incredibly close throughout the years. My family split up at age 9. And I walked in to find my father dead at age 17. And we'll talk about some more of that on a later episode. But from a medical perspective, the neurophysiological aspects of how a child's brain, the experiences in early childhood particularly, how it's ingrained in their brain and how it affects, alluding to what you said, them in their adulthood and really your whole life if you don't get a grasp on it. And so people like to make judgments, oh, this one is pregnant, oh, this one is gay, or this one is this, or this one had this many partners, but really people are going through things at such a young age that their brains are already compromised. Absolutely. Do you see not only the promiscuity aspect of it, but do you see how that also affects their education, behavior, and then can they even grasp what you're saying about the promiscuity and the effects?
No, most of the time, either they can't grasp it or they don't want to, but that's like an outlet to them to be able to be sexually active or to cut, and it definitely affects their schooling. Unfortunately, every week, like last week was a crazy week, so many girls acting out in school and getting suspended. Suspension, the rates are very high, and I have to say that the principal of our school, Temple Hill Academy, he tries very hard to work with the young ladies and the young men.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, he's very compassionate person, and I think that even though they get suspended often, because most of the time they're fighting each other. Like it's a brawl, it's a real down and out brawl. I still don't think they get it, and I try to establish a buddy program so that they have teachers and any staff member, including the principal, can become their mentor and work with them, and they could talk to them anytime they want to. Some kids welcome that, but the other piece of that is they don't trust people because their father walked out on them. They feel like the person is going to walk out on them. So if they feel like they don't have anybody they can trust and they're still looking for that love, well, the first man or the first woman comes along that makes them feel like they love them. Unfortunately, it becomes a sexual thing.
And a lot of times the sex is not really even the goal. It's the closeness, the physical intimacy, which people falsely translate to emotional intimacy. And unfortunately, when you have it double-sided, the males and the females, then you have dysfunctional relationships, which go right into our topic of strongholds. And we'll be discussing in future episodes different components of the strongholds.
Right.
But can you tell the guests a little bit more about what a stronghold is? And you talked about some interventions that you're trying at the school, but what is a stronghold and how do you see that in the school?
Basically, a stronghold is something that's been passed down, usually from generation to generation, and it's something that really holds you hostage. And it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a habit that we've created to help us through difficult times, and it could be obviously a sexual habit, it could be smoking, it could be drugs, it could be anything, but it's the spiritual aspect to that. That's what really makes it a stronghold, because and I know in this day and time a lot of people don't think of things as in a spiritual manner because they always equate it with God, but we're all spiritual beings just here in a body.
Right.
Really, that's all we are. So it's a stronghold is passed, that's the thing, it's passed down unless somebody breaks the cycle from generation to generation. So I can also attest to that from my family.
Right.
There were strongholds, passed down from generation to generation. So that's another reason I am really particularly excited about this, because I want to help children so they don't become enslaved. Yeah, because you can become enslaved, and unfortunately your life just goes by just like that. And then before you know it, you don't have an education. You can't make it in this world without an education. And I try to tell the young people that don't complain about your color. We know there's a lot of injustices in the world. Nobody's stupid. But at the same time, if you have the ability, and I tell them, don't listen to me because I'm right. Listen to me because I love you from my heart. And I'm here to help you. Even though you don't have your father, I could still help you through the situation.
Right. And although in different socioeconomic statuses, fatherlessness may be more prevalent, you made a valiant point that the father being emotionally or psychologically absent is also fatherless. And this is not a black or white thing. This is a stronghold thing.
Absolutely.
This is a spiritual bondage thing. This is something that, you have a mother and a father, and a lot of times girls have a love relationship with their father if it's a healthy relationship, and not in a sexual deviant way, but you see it, daddy's girl. You think that's just a saying?
No.
It's real.
No.
And that's how it was meant to be. But unfortunately, because of the strongholds, men don't know how to be fathers.
They don't know how to be fathers. And I will say that you shouldn't particularly feel less than because you don't know how to be a father. However, what you can do is there's all kind of help out there.
What kind of help?
You could go to therapy, you could get a mentor, you could go to your pastor. There's an array of different resources out there.
Even online now.
Absolutely.
Right, from the comfort of wherever you are.
Right, because some people don't like counseling. So if you don't like counseling, if you want to do it via internet or whatever, do that because they feel more comfortable.
Even in jail, even in prison.
Right.
You have, there's technological resources there.
Absolutely.
So the first step is saying, it sounds like you're saying, is the courage to do something.
You have to admit that you have this issue. That's the first step. And then, yes, following that, you have to have the courage to say, you know what, I know I don't know this. I'm going to put aside my pride and I'm going to go get help. Yeah.
Because the absence of the role and the closeness, like let's look at this. If we're holding hands, now to not hold hands and then to hold hands, you automatically feel some type of comfort just with another human being. And if you're not feeling that from your father,
you got to get it from somewhere.
Right.
And that's what happens.
And that's what happens with the promiscuity.
And unfortunately, men and even young boys, because I know there's some men that I've dealt with, their fathers have taught them to be a man, you have to go out and become sexual.
Say that again.
Unfortunately, that's not true, but they believe it, so they try to get as many girls as they can get. And for some reason, again, we know this is all spiritual, they seem to target the young girls that are the weakest and most vulnerable, And
probably because they're feeling insecure about their inadequacies.
Yeah.
And it's not an excuse, but it's a
reality.
Yeah.
It really is.
Right.
So I try to teach the girls the value of their bodies, because a lot of girls that are promiscuous, they don't set out to be promiscuous. They're just looking for love and acceptance. But there's no greater value you have than your own body. And once you give that up, you can't get that back. And a lot of girls are realizing that virginity is a great thing, you know, because whoever you give your body to, that person needs to love and appreciate you. And I'm not promoting becoming a sexual at a young age. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying you have to weigh these options, because not all men, not all males, it's not that they don't care, but their hormones are raging, and all they thinking about, I'm just gonna say this, getting that Smitty off.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to keep it real. I'm trying to keep it real.
If you look at development, even in a healthy boy, he's becoming more aware of things, and you know, and even the little boys, what are they doing when they first know that they have an extra appendage? They're playing with it, right?
You mean they're
yeah. So I mean, that is a part of human development.
It is.
But the deviant part of it is due to these strongholds, these emotional and psychological issues, that you're looking for something that you're never going to fill with this deleterious behavior. It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. And I went to a social worker convention 2 weekends ago, and we had 3 FBI agents there speaking, and they were telling us how, because a lot of young girls are looking for love, and social media is, they said it, this is exactly what they said. It's a good thing, but it's an awful thing, but because it gives these perverts so much more access to these young girls, and these young girls are on their phones. And one of the young girls the other week, she ended up in a psychiatric center, but her mother showed me she had disrobed and had her genitalia and her breast online. That same girl I was telling you about that was in contact with the 31-year-old man.
For everyone to see. For everyone.
Everybody
saw.
So
now you're taking something that's only yours. You're only going to get one body.
Right.
Okay, remember that.
Right.
You're not getting another body.
Right.
So you're taking something that is yours, that's precious to you, and showing everyone. So let's bring out a point here.
What's that?
If I say I'm a man and I say I want to marry Susie So, do you think that I want Susie So to have slept with 99 people?
No.
Now, we're not saying that if this has happened that you're less than.
Right.
We're not saying that.
No.
Because these strongholds, they take time, effort, and a lot of resources to break them. But what we're saying is avoid it.
Exactly.
Avoid it by getting the help. You know, we're here for you and can help connect to resources in the school, in the community, you know, so that you're not out there looking
alone.
Yeah, alone. Because when you think about sex and promiscuity, just look at, you know, the cells and things that are being exchanged. It's life. It's living organisms that are being exchanged. You know?
Yeah.
I'm giving you part of my life and you're giving me a part of yours.
Absolutely.
You know, every time. And so this
not only are you giving them a part of your life, unfortunately, the STDs come along with that a lot of times.
Yeah, they do.
Now,
I listen.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Oh, no, I learned something yesterday which was amazing to me. I did not know. And this is very important for people to know, that when I was at the dentist's office, they had this brochure on oral cancer. And I'm like, I never really thought about oral cancer. So I'm like talking to the lady that was cleaning my teeth. And I said, well, what do you think causes that? Then all of a sudden it hit me. And I said to her, is it because of oral sex? And she says, yes, and it's an HPV virus. Yeah. So I know a lot of people say, well, you know, you could do what you want to do, but that's type of cancer is the most prevalent type of cancer now than any of the other cancers it was saying. Because people, I don't think they think of that. They just want to enjoy themselves, and I get it. But personally, if I was doing that, I could cut that out, because that can affect you in such detrimental ways, you know. And it's just I'm just like, This is one of my pet peeves.
Human papillomavirus.
Right.
And there are vaccines, if you choose to be vaccinated,
Right.
that your body can help to produce what we call antibodies
Right.
to recognize the antigens if it comes across with the virus. So you can talk to your healthcare provider
Right.
about that.
Right.
But yeah, any type of mucous membrane can be affected by a virus. A virus needs a host. And again, we're not saying anyone is less than if
Right.
they have anything. There's so many treatments that are out there and management of viruses, bacteria, even chronic conditions. HIV is now considered a chronic condition.
Right.
It's not like the 80s where you're HIV and you're dead.
Dead, right.
I had an aunt to die from AIDS,
Right.
but that was what? Late 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So medical research and technology has come so far since then. But the point is, the issues that physical, psychological, emotional that you have to go through if you face that, as opposed to preemptively getting the help.
I mean, like the 1-year girl I was talking about, this girl is so devastated. This is what having an absent father can do to you. She is so devastated.
Yeah.
They caught her in the back of the stage giving another student, a male, a blowjob. And it was like, it didn't even mean nothing to her. But I'm like, she wants to fit in too. That's the other piece of it. If you don't have your father there and you want that acceptance from a male, then they don't care what male it is, And she's a very, very smart girl. And I tell her all the time, I said, you don't have to do this because you got a brain. Use it. Think. And these boys you get involved with, as soon as you give them what they want, they go along their little merry way. And then unfortunately, some of them, they end up with a baby. And then what are you going to do? It's going to repeat the cycle.
And that's going to change your life.
Absolutely.
It changes your life, the dynamics becoming apparent. So some of the steps, because we talked about the youth, the promiscuity and some of the interventions. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about further interventions on breaking the strongholds.
Okay, absolutely.
I want to just remind you guys, you can find us on social media, Fatherless Yet Fabulous. We're currently on Instagram and Facebook, and we have a website coming to you soon. We are a mentoring and life coaching company, and we are looking to authentically help you along your journey. For those children who also have eczema, ExySoothe is a wonderful natural organic skin solution, and you can find us on social media as well, and that is ECZESOOTHE on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on website, exysoothe.com.
Yes.
All right, so we look... And let's get right into the interventions for kind of breaking these strongholds. And obviously, it's not a one-stop shop, but can you tell us a few things that you attempt in your role?
Yes. In the school setting, we definitely offer them counseling, and it's a voluntary thing. We can't force them to come to counseling, but it could be I do individual counseling, I do family counseling, we do group counseling. I can refer them out to local resources so they can get counseling in the community. You could go online, and as I said earlier, and if that's the thing that you choose, you can also get different information online that's going to help you. Or even some people, they need psychiatric counseling. They actually want to go into a facility where they could stay, like a residential treatment facility, and get that help. I can also be the liaison to help them to be able to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a stigma for mental health.
Absolutely.
And even in 2019, it's
Absolutely.
still stigmatized.
Absolutely.
And particularly in our community.
In the African American community.
Particularly.
Absolutely.
We rely on spirituality.
Right. Which is great.
And it's great.
Right.
And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but in a practical way, there's resources that are here on earth that you can partake in.
That's why God made them and put different people in different roles on earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to go to counseling. Don't be afraid if you need medication to get it. You know, like I told you guys a little bit about my story, and I'll be sharing more. I've suffered from anxiety. I've suffered from depression. You know, it's a journey. It's a journey that you're breaking, that you're getting through, that you're restoring your spiritual equilibrium.
Right.
You know, so if you have to take a little medication while you function and get through your issues,
take it.
If you have to go to your counselor and talk about every little thing that has happened to you, there may be even incestuous
absolutely that happens a lot.
Activity that happens.
That happens a lot.
You know, and speaking about fatherlessness, he could have had a stronghold, then he passes it down.
Absolutely.
You know, he could be touching or doing other sexual things that should not be introduced to a child's brain.
I must interject and say, if that's happening, tell somebody ASAP, because that person needs to be stopped. And again, the FBI gave me his contact so I can absolutely directly contact them, because they want to get all these people off the street, because they were telling us about a 6-year-old that his father had molested them.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, 6 years old, and he was getting ready to go that night and arrest him.
Yeah,
the mother had no
crime.
clue. It's a crime.
That's a crime.
It's a crime.
And although you may still love that person or have some type of affection for them, they need to be put away so that they can also receive the help that they need.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because they're sick.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a mental health issue.
It is a mental health issue.
Pedophilia is a mental health issue.
It is.
In the mental health diagnostic manual.
Exactly.
It is. So we're not taboo on any of these issues. We're here to help.
Right.
We want to uncover these issues.
Right.
Let's stop being scared to talk about
There's
sex.
To be scared about.
Let's stop being scared to talk about mental health.
Right.
Let's not be scared to talk about the impact of
Right.
fatherlessness. Not only did I lose my father young, I'm a single mom.
Right.
So we're not saying anything about single moms. But let's get real here. The father was meant to be a part of the equation.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because all these super moms, quote unquote, and I'm not trying to beat up on anybody, but you said, oh yeah, I'm the mother and the father. No, you're not.
And you know.
I know.
You were a single mom from what?
17 to when you got grown.
Yeah.
And although her father died, I didn't feel like I was the mother and the father, because she had a father, but I knew I had to do what I could to fulfill some of those voids. Right. But at the same time, I did reach out to other males to try to help me along to get guidance, because a girl or a young man, they need a father. That's why God made two parents, and one is a male.
You ain't getting a child here with just the egg.
Absolutely.
You need a sperm.
Absolutely.
So and not just a sperm that can help you mold a child's life.
Yeah.
You know, most people have, sperm. Okay, good. Okay, but then what?
Because that's a huge responsibility to become a parent.
Right.
I mean, you could easily do the act and then get an abortion, but then you got to live with that too. So my friend said she had 5 abortions when she was young. She didn't think about it, but then after she became an adult, she said she heard the voices of those 5 children calling out to her.
And we'll talk about that.
Yes.
Nothing is off limits, because we really want to help.
We really want to help.
We really want to be here to dissipate these things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it can be done, and we have to expose it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's one step at a time. Don't think everything is going to happen overnight. Just be honest with yourself first and reach out. And then you can get the help you need, whether it's the child that's fatherless or the fatherless or the father that caused the child to become fatherless. We want to help you too, because that's what I do.
Woo.
That's what I do. So we're here for you.
Okay. Now, I told y'all she's social worker of the century, right? Because that's another aspect.
Right.
The father that caused this pain.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, he's gone through some serious pain.
Maybe he was fatherless.
And moms.
Yeah.
And when you're mending that relationship, and we'll talk about this more later, when you're mending that relationship, be watchful, but don't try to take the child from the father because you're upset.
Exactly.
You
I
know?
love that you said that, because so many women use that as their stronghold on the man. But that's childish, and that's unfair to the child. You might not like him, but
You like them at some point.
Hello.
What Cardi B said.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know what, guys? We're gonna wrap up with the last 2 points that you made. And again, we're here to help, empower, enrich. We're gonna restore, and we're not telling you something because we're professionals and read it out a book. Okay, we might have read it out a book or read a study, which gives more credence to it. But we've lived this.
I'm living it now.
We're living it now,
Yeah.
and we'll tell you more. But thank you so much for being here. I want to just remind you guys, you can find us on social media, Fatherless Yet Fabulous. We're currently on Instagram and Facebook, and we have a website coming to you soon. We are a mentoring and life coaching company, and we are looking to authentically help you along your journey. For those children who also have eczema, ExySoothe is a wonderful natural organic skin solution, and you can find us on social media as well, and that is ECZESOOTHE on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on website, exysoothe.com.
Yes.
All right, so we look forward to seeing you next
you.
time.
Bye-bye.
FYF.
Yeah.